If you ever wondered what profit actually looks like as a reseller, you are in luck. I'm going to go through some sales that I've had on eBay, Poshmark, and Depop to show you what I'm actually making. I'm going to share my actual profit, how long it took to sell, and what the sale price actually was. So just keep watching if you are interested. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendall. We are going to talk about some sales that I made last week. I am going to share my screen. I'm only going to go through a few on each platform. If you want to see a longer version, let me know and I can do that for next time. I do intend to make this every week, so let me know if you like it and I can continue doing it. But let's just get into the sales. All right, first up, we are going to start with eBay. I'm going to share a little bit of sales from eBay, Poshmark, and Depop. This is not all the sales that I made last week. If you would like to see something like that, let me know. That will obviously take more time for me to gather everything, but I can do it if you're interested. So we're going to start with eBay. I wanted to do 3 on each platform, but don't have 3 from Depop. So we did 1 extra on Poshmark, but we will start here with eBay. So first up is this LL Bean lamb's wool cardigan. LL Bean is a great brand. It is very solid and has a pretty good following. So I don't pick up all LL Bean, but if something like this, like it's more unique, it's lamb's wool, I'm going to pick it up. So this, I was surprised that it took as long as it did. So it took 163 days to sell, but I did list it in the summer. So that can be the reason. But now I'm seeing sweaters and cardigans, things like that starting to sell. So definitely get your stuff up now because people are looking. But this is 100% lamb's wool. I thought the pattern was really cool. Size extra large women's. This sold all in for $43.78. So that includes the shipping. I do charge shipping. And I profited $31.63. Next up is this pair of Frank and Eileen pants. If you have never heard of Frank and Eileen, definitely take note of this logo because it is a great brand. It is one of those brands that I don't really have to always look up. I kind of pick it up as long as the condition's okay because it will sell. It might not sell immediately, but it will. Frank and Eileen also has a resale site, which means that you can sell Frank and Eileen items on their resale. I think it's called Reloved on their site, which is great as just another place to put your stuff because then people that go there are people that are specifically looking for Frank and Eileen. So you might be able to sell it faster on there. But this is a pair of BlackRock crop pants, which also you should be able to find the style of what it is on the tag. Not always, but you definitely want to include that in your title because people are going to specifically look for styles that they know they like. So take a look at the care label and see if it's in there and add it. But these sold in 12 days for $56.28. So I did have an offer get sent out, which I have an automated tool that does that. So I think it was like $49, something like that it sold for, and then I have shipping. And the profit on these was $44.07. Lastly, on eBay is this pair of Athleta Cabo linen wide leg pants. So there's a few reasons why I picked this up. One is I almost always pick up the Cabo linen collection. I feel like I've had a lot of success selling that style. It's 100% linen, which is obviously an appeal. The other thing is that these were 6 tall, so a tall is going to be a more unique size. Might be harder for people to find on the secondhand market, so you might stand out a little bit. So this is one of those styles of Athleta that I pick up almost, again, without looking, similar to Frank and Eileen. But I don't pick up all Athleta. So like this, I would almost always. The nice thing too is the name is on the tag, so you can search directly for what this style is and how it performs. But there's also a number here. So this S/447244, that is going to be the style number. So you can type that into eBay, type Athleta and then those numbers, and it should come up with what the style name is. And then you can take that name and plug it back into eBay and search for how it does on eBay. The 3, I believe, is just the color code. So it's not 100% necessary. You just want to know the name and be able to search it that way. But these sold in 7 days for $38.28 all in, and I profited $29.50. I will also mention that most of my buy costs are $4.99. These I bought for $4 from a miscellaneous thrift store, but I do shop Goodwill primarily, and most of the prices are $4.99 to $6.99. So I will share if there's something that is different. I do have something later that's sold on Depop that I paid up for, so I will share that, but for the most part it's $4.99 unless I say otherwise. So that is all eBay. We are going to move on to Poshmark. And again, I added one extra on Poshmark to make up for one less on Depop. So first is this pair of WoolX leggings. WoolX is a great brand. And if you ever find it, definitely pick it up as long as there's no holes and the condition's fine, because it will sell pretty quickly. So this is the Stella legging. Also, if you are unsure how to find styles of things, because this I didn't know, it just looks like a black legging to me, I went on WoolX, searched on there to see if there was anything that looks similar. You can also Google Lens it, and then sometimes it will pull up what that style is. Or sometimes I ask Gemini, I'm like, hey, do you know the style of this or the name of this product? And sometimes they help, and then you can kind of look that up and so on. But I was able to figure out the name of these, which probably helped. So these sold in 0 days, but it's like 0 to 1 because I got an offer at night and then I accepted it in the morning, but it wasn't 24 hours after it was listed. So 0 days technically. And it sold for $55. I did have them for $65, but I got that offer and I kind of just wanted to wait overnight to see if anyone came in and took it at $65. But I'm in the business of moving things. I don't want to hold on to things. So I was cool with a $55 sale, and I profited $39.01. Okay, next is a bundle. So I have these 3 things that I will share. So first is this pair of Lululemon leggings. So the bundle total sold for $100. So I'm going to break it down based on how it broke down on my reseller GD. But you can obviously do it even however you want to do it. You can break it down, but I just kept it the way that it showed up on my reseller GD. So these leggings took 117 days to sell. Lululemon is a little hit or miss for me. I don't pick up all of it. I'm more prone to pick up men's than women's, and it just has to be like a newer style potentially. I don't know. I'm particular on what I pick up for Lululemon. So these I wanted to move on from. So that's kind of why I decided to take this bundle. So they sold for 24 and I made $14.21 on them. Then we have this pair of Lululemon Wonder Train shorts. So these sold for $28 and I profited $22.40, and these took 3 days to sell. And then last, that left me a little conflicted with the bundle, is this AYR shirt. So I listed this. It had a ton of interest right away, and this person put it into a bundle and sent me an offer, and I was able to get her up a little bit, but I really wanted to get rid of those Lululemon leggings. So I kind of was okay with letting this go, even though it had a ton of interest. But AYR is a great brand, so this is what that label looks like. This technically sold in 0 days because it sold the day that I listed it. And this sold for $48 and I profited $31.20. I did pay up a little bit for this because I got it at a buy sell trade, like 80% off sale. So I think it ended up being like $9 or so. So a little bit more than my typical $4.99. But I was happy to get rid of those 3 things because, again, I want to move through inventory. So it's always nice to get a bundle. The total profit on these 3 things was $67.81. So not bad. 2 Lululemon pieces and an AYR shirt. So we have 2 more for Poshmark. So next is this Brooks Brothers merino wool cardigan. I don't always pick up Brooks Brothers. I picked it up a few times in men's. I recently picked up 2 Brooks Brothers blazers for women, and they sold very quickly. Like, I was kind of experimenting, and I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for Brooks Brothers women's blazers because they sold very quickly. I picked up this cardigan because it was merino wool and it was in like new condition. It was in excellent condition, which isn't always something that you see for merino wool pieces or like cashmere pieces. So definitely check for holes or flaws because it is common on those types of knits. But I was happy to pick this up because it was just in such great condition. So I sold this for $34. and this took 166 days to sell. So similar to the LL Bean cardigan that sold, I'm now starting to see the sweaters and the heavier pieces start to sell. So definitely get your sweaters and cardigans and outerwear stuff up because people are shopping it. And this, I profited $22.21. And then last for Poshmark is this Polo Ralph Lauren women's t-shirt. Again, I almost always pick up something that has that polo bear on it because that tends to have a pretty good following. Ralph Lauren, again, is one of those brands like LL Bean. Like, it tends to sell. It's not always the fastest or the highest sales, but depending on the different labels that you find, because Black Label and Purple Label, like those are some different ones that you would want to pick up. But I saw the polo bear and I immediately picked it up. This is women's and it's an extra large. So a little bit larger of a size, which can be appealing. And I had this listed for 3 days before it sold. I did price it at $90. So something I will mention is typically for a t-shirt like this, if I didn't look anything up, I probably would have listed it for like $35 to $40. And I'm glad that I looked it up because people had new with tag ones listing like over $100. So clearly it was desirable and had interest. So I listed mine at 90, sold it for 76 in a couple days, and I profited $55.81. So now we are moving on to Depop. So I only have 2 over here, but this one is definitely mighty. So Park is a great brand. It is a brand that comes out with like limited edition rare drops, which makes it very appealing, especially on the secondhand market. So I listed this at $249.99. I ended up selling it for $190, which I had a couple different offers come in and I accepted and they never paid and all of that because that can happen on Depop. But I was excited. I got this girl to get a little bit higher. I think we started at like 170, got her to 190, accepted it. She paid. Amazing. So this I did pay a little bit up for. I did buy it at a buy sell trade store, which is a store that you can take clothes and get cash on the spot. So it's like Plato's Closet, Uptown Cheapskate, Style Encore, places like that. And this I bought for $35, which I'm not someone that typically pays up for things because I get stuff at thrift stores where it's pretty cheap. So this I did pay up for and I'm happy I did. And I would pay higher than that just because I sold it in 10 days and I profited $147.58. So definitely worth picking up. So if you ever find this at a buy sell trade store, thrift store, whatever, definitely grab it as long as it is real because I'm sure this is one that is faked. So that is the logo. And I don't know who this is. I think it's an influencer brand or something like that, but has a very big following. So definitely grab this. And my last Depop sale is this pair of Gramercy pants. I will also mention I have been listing on eBay and Poshmark for a long time now. Depop is just a new platform I've added. So my sales are a little bit slower moving over there because not everything is listed over there. But I'm always happy to see a sale because the fees on Depop are so low. You make so much of the sale, which is so nice. So I'm willing to take a little bit lower offers because I know I'm going to still see a lot of that money versus other platforms. So these Gramercy pants I had listed for $39.99. I sold for $30. And these took 9 days to sell and I profited $19.82. Gramercy is also a brand that you want to keep your eye out for. It's like the hiking outdoor core styles. I typically pick it up in men's more than women's, but I have sold a few women's pieces. And these are like convertible pants. They do have some stains, so happy to sell them for $30. I don't have the logo shown here, so I can add it if I remember to put it on here. But I think it's like a little guy kind of looking thing. But Gramercy is a great brand, so if you ever find it, I would look into it, pick it up. All right, so there are some of my sales. If you liked this, definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. That would mean so much to me. Leave a comment, share some sales that you made recently. If you liked this style of video, I can continue doing them. Just let me know. I do want to do them weekly, but I don't know if I should just share a few sales or more. So let me know if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.